So Jono, thank you for joining us. Obviously we're coming to the end of this season. From your point of view, from the academy, what have been some of your highlights?
I suppose probably from the outside that fans and people sort of looking in probably think that the academy is just based around the 18s and under 21s. But we've got a whole sort of ecosystem, if you like, below that, from pre-academy right through to the under 16s. So it's a massive machine, lots of moving parts, and certainly with the younger age groups this year, we've performed really well. We've got some really good kids coming through. We've had an under 13 group, go away and play in a tournament in Germany this year. The under 14s have just come back from a tournament in Poland, which they won. And we've got a group of 9s, 10s, 11s who are going off to Lithuania this week. So in terms of sort of the younger age groups, getting that life experience, experiencing different cultures, being away from their parents, not relying on their parents for things at such a young age is a sort of a massive learning curve, and something that we try and promote here within the academy. So the under 17s have made the final of the Premier League Cup this year. So we've got Fleetwood away, I think in April, 16th I think it is. So they've done really well. The 18s again have made it through to the semi-final, just sort of narrowly getting beaten by Swansea. Throughout sort of all the different age groups, there's different learnings, different life experiences, but overall, I think on the pitch has been quite successful.
And it's your role to oversee all of those different age groups. So how does a sort of day-to-day look for you? Obviously seeing all those age groups, but also work in the office, I'm sure, as well.
Yeah, so my role's a little bit different now because things have settled down a little bit to when I first came into the academy. When I first came in, there was lots of changes, both on and off the pitch, that were needed in terms of sort of staffing and getting sort of the education program right. And so just overseeing all that, the sort of change in sort of the first 18 months, that was a lot of my time taken up with sort of organising that. I think for the first 6 months, myself and Jimmy were at training every night and got to know the boys quite well. You learn to know their names, which is quite difficult with the amount of boys in the academy. But I think myself and Jimmy just wanted to be open, visible, and be around for parents and players to see us. But moving on from that, now we're sort of settled and we're in a really good place in terms of the staff we've got in the building, the program that we're running, my role now is a little bit more calmer than what it was when I first came in, for sure.
And you spoke about the staff there. In the last week, obviously, we saw Tom Cleverley progress to the first team. How important is it for the academy not just to provide a place for development for players, but also for the coaching staff? Yeah,
exactly. And it's sort of, Tom is sort of at the top end of that. But like I touched on earlier, the younger age groups with the academy, we've got some really good coaches in the younger age groups who are developing the players to get up to that sort of scholarship age. So it's a testament to them with the results on the pitch that we've got, with the staff we've got in the building. Tom has sort of come in with the 18s this year off the back of retiring. So he's got ideas fresh in his mind. He understands what players need. The 18s have really responded well to Tom this year. It's not a secret, Tom has aspirations to go on and be a manager or a head coach. And certainly sort of being thrown in at the deep end like that is going to offer a great opportunity and learning experience for him.
And you touched upon opportunity there. In his first starting lineup, I think it was the youngest Watford have put out for 13 years, and there were 6 academy graduates in the squad for that game. How does that feel from an academy point of view? Yeah,
it's amazing. I think in the sort of 3 years myself and Jimmy have been in, we've had quite a bit of success with that. I think there's 8 or 9 debuts. There's probably over combined 40 odd appearances between academy players. Ryan got the opportunity with Chris Wilder at the back end of last season. Had a run of games and has now stayed over with the first team. James Morris, although he came in from Southampton, he was with the academy and then made the progression across. Toby scoring the goal at home in his home debut. Jack Greaves has been in and around it. So from an academy point of view and a pathway point of view for the players within the academy, I think this last 3 years has really changed perception that we have got some players within the academy that can go over to the first team and stay there.
Both you and Jimmy Gilligan came through the youth team here. How does that help in your role to understand what the players are coming through? Obviously, you moving over from Australia, there might be some lads who have moved from up north or overseas as well. How does that help?
Yeah, I think looking at myself and Jimmy, we're sort of cut from the same cloth in terms of what the club means to us. Obviously, Jimmy played under GT in his first spell here. I played under Graham when he came back to the club, and sort of the DNA of the club or the club values and what it means to the community has not changed in my view. And we try and instill that in the academy players. So the scholars now, with their life skills program, they go and do community projects, visit schools, go to hospices, things like that, which is really important to myself and Jimmy because that's how we grew up here with GT. So we're trying to instill that in the players. They get an understanding of the club and what the badge, what it means to wear the shirt. And I think if boys go over from the academy and the fans can see that, then it gives a lot of credence to the academy, but also the players going over there from the academy knows what it means to play for the club.
And in your role, how does it feel when you see players progress to their next stage, whether that's in football at Watford or elsewhere, or another stage in another profession?
Yeah, it's a good point actually, because obviously academy football is all about development. It's not results driven, well, especially not here anyway. Yes, everybody wants to win, and that's sort of what you try and instill in players. You need that winning mentality, but here when I first came into the club, we had a lot of players in the 23s age group especially that sort of were just comfortable playing 23s football. So lots of those players moved on, and now we've got really young age groups through the 18s and 21s where we're trying to push players and challenge players to make that jump. But it's part of our mission statement that we want the boys to do really well in their education, and it gives them sort of a backup and grounding that if football doesn't work out, then they've got other opportunities. So I think we're the leading club in terms of offering A-level opportunities, but there's business management courses, there's personal training courses that we can offer outside of the usual BTEC. So because listen, football's a brutal industry and an unforgiving industry really, and just by the nature of it, not every player is going to make it. So we're hoping that we're giving these sort of the younger players every opportunity to, if football isn't for them or it doesn't work out here at Watford, then they have the best opportunity to go and prove themselves somewhere else.
And just a final one on that development, how important are sort of loan moves in that? So obviously we've got Chakvetadze out at Leyton Orient, but there's links with the clubs with sort of local teams in the National League and the Southern League in Hemel Hempstead and Kings Langley. How does that have an impact on the players?
So what we try and do here is get our players out. Like you say, we've got good connections with Kings Langley. We've had boys go into Tring, Biggleswade. So we try and look at the individual, what the individual needs. Sometimes it might be sending them to Kings Langley to see if they can physically cope with the men's football. Others, the 21s or the 18s, might be a little bit not challenging enough or a little bit too easy for them. So we need to offer opportunities for them to go and challenge themselves in men's football. And then obviously we've got Chakvetadze, who's been here since he was 8 or 9 years old. Hasn't really established himself in the first team here, but physically he was ready for men's football. So I think he had a spell at Kings Langley, then he had a great experience at York, and then he's come back and he's been a regular at Leyton Orient this season, scoring goals in League One. So his development and the loan system has really benefited him. So hopefully he might come back pre-season and start with the first team and see how that progresses for him. But I think for us in the academy, where we're not sort of playing in a Category 1 games programme, I think the loan system really benefits our players.
And now just looking forward, what are your hopes for the academy in the future?
Yeah, good question. I think we've seen a lot of growth and progression in the 3 years we've been here. Certainly in terms of the infrastructure and the staff and behind the scenes. Probably from the academy side is obviously everybody wants players in the first team here. And I think the more players we can develop that are prepared and ready to make a difference or be in a position to stay within the first team, then I think that's our goal.
Brilliant. Thank you for your time, Johnny.